Hey, afternoon everyone. Today we are going to be working on a 2005 BMW Z4, the 2.5i. So I am getting two codes in the vehicle, a P0171 and a P0174. What that basically means is that the car is running lean and there's oxygen getting into the system. And it's essentially related to the oxygen sensor. However, it's highly unlikely that both oxygen sensors are going to go bad. So usually what happens is that there's generally a vacuum leak somewhere where air is getting into the system, and that's what is throwing off that reading. So, and I think I found what the issue is, and I ordered a part. So, you know, we have our air box over here. We have our mass airflow sensor here. We have our upper intake hose and lower intake hose connecting into the throttle body. And I'm gonna try to show you here, maybe a little difficult with the lighting situation, but this lower intake hose, right here, try to get in there for you. Right there is ripped. If you can see that. So I ordered that lower intake hose, and I believe that's where the vacuum leak is coming from. The other areas you want to check potentially would be your dipstick. It has these two O-rings. If those O-rings look like they're going bad, or if you're missing one, that could be your source of a vacuum leak. We have a DISA valve here, which has a few O-rings. That may be your source. Or we have there's other stuff like the valve cover gasket and the CCV valve. There's no leak, and the oxygen sensor looks to be fairly new. So I'm hoping that, you know, it's the lower intake boot, which is clearly ripped. And we have our part from BMW of Atlantic City. And it's a genuine BMW part number. Here's how it looks. This is a very common failure point right here again. All right, in order to take out the lower intake boot, it's just gonna be easy for us to take out the air box, then take out the upper intake hose, then the lower intake hose. There is also a rubber gasket in between the upper intake hose and the mass airflow sensor area, and that looks to be, there looks to be some glue on there too, so that could also be the source of my leak. But I'm gonna try to swap out the lower intake boots first and see if that solves the issue. So what are we gonna need here? Let's take a look. You can use a socket for that. It's probably an 8mm, or you can use a flathead screwdriver. And, you know, we just have our standard clips here. 1, you know, 2, let's see, 3 right there. And then the mass airflow sensor has 2 clips. 1, 2. So as you can see, this there's also a clip right here. So the box comes out, the air box, air filter, and it's also an opportunity for you to check your air filter. This one doesn't look that dirty, but what I will do is I have my compressor here and I'll blow it out. And if you need to clean something, it's also an opportunity. All right, so what I did is I loosened this screw, that clamp basically. I did the same with this and the same with that third one. And then we have the mass airflow sensor itself. And the way to take this out is just lift this up a little, not hard because you're gonna break it. And you're gonna pull out the bottom part of it. And then I'm gonna need 2 hands for this. I'm just gonna pull this out. When you pull it out, this is what happens. And let's see if we can take out sensor. See, here's the gasket that I was talking about. Seems that someone put some glue here to seal it. So we loosened it. So this is the upper intake hose. You also want to take a look at this. This one looks fine. You want to look in between the grooves. Usually that's where the rips are. And now this one, let's see how this one is connected down there. It looks like it's another clamp in the back, right there, which we have to remove. All right, I got the clip in the back pretty loose, but before I take it out, I'm gonna wiggle. There's another hose over here, which you're just gonna have to pull out. So I'm gonna remove that hose. Actually, there's another clamp way up there, right there, that holds this small tube as well. So we're gonna have to remove that. There it is. Probably gonna need a small, and this is our small screwdriver here. All right, it's becoming a little hard to push. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this valve. And there is one torque screw right here. I believe it's a 240, and run right there. Well, both those hex bolts were actually 240, so I loosened it. There's one. And there's the other. You know, since I took out the diesel valve, I wanted to show you an easy way for you to identify if this valve is good, or maybe, you know, later on you put everything back and you find out maybe that wasn't the problem. Sometimes, you know, these valves, the original ones are pretty expensive, around $400, but you can get, you know, aftermarket ones for a lot less. There's an easy way to identify if this is bad. What you do is, you see that hole right there? You cover that hole. You turn this a little first, this little flapper. So, and you hold that hole, and that flapper stays in place. So, I mean, you know, yeah, I got that flapper held vertically, when it's already horizontally. And I'm gonna put my finger right there, put my finger on the hole. You see how that flapper stays there? And when I remove my finger, the flapper should turn vertical. There we go. So you know it's good. The vacuum is holding. Small pipe in first, and then I'm gonna put in the boot. And you see that bottom like rectangle piece? There's a slot right underneath the throttle body, so it can only go in one way. And I'm gonna then put this pipe back into that area, but of course I need my clamp first. All right, I realized something. I had to take the new part out again, because when I tried to connect the lower intake hose to the upper, you can see they don't meet. And then what I see is, in the new one, it appears there's this cap that's on. So the old one, the upper intake boot, had the cap on, which was from the old one. So now I can fit these together and they'll snap in place. All right, guys, I was having the hardest time connecting these two for some reason. So something as simple as this project has become a little bit complex. So what I did is I connected both of these. For some reason it wouldn't fit. And now I'm gonna put the lower intake hose back in and then connect everything. And then I'll put the diesel valve back on and we'll go from there. Okay, now we got everything put back. We got our mass airflow sensor. We're gonna have to put the connector on, which is right here. We just push that in, that's good. Now we're just gonna put back the air box and put the clips back on. Again, here's a look at how bad, you know, the rubber deteriorated. You know, these hoses are known to break over time. So, you know, it's a good idea to periodically check these. Not only these hoses, you know, the coolant bottle is known to start leaking, you know, anywhere around the 90,000 mile mark. So if you bought a used vehicle and you haven't changed it, I would highly recommend it. I am scheduled to, you know, change it in a few weeks. My next project on this car is I got the spark plugs. I got the washer, a bottle reservoir to change. Actually the grommet and the pump are acting up, so I'm gonna change that. And then one of my cup holders inside is jammed, so I'm gonna swap that one out too. So we'll show you all these videos. Subscribe and like. Thanks.